Intertalk Radio, your in to all things music.
May the best brand win with Scott Robertson's Music Biz Marketing Strategies. Now, here's your host, Scott Robertson.
Happy Friday, everybody. You are tuned to May the Best Brand Win on Intertalk Radio, the undisputed leader in music biz talk. I am Scott Robertson, and a man who saw Stevie Wonder at the recent NAMM show, although once again, Stevie did not see me. But and see, it's a good joke. It's a joke that we've heard before, but it's always good. And with me is a man who was down at the NAMM show and is always connecting the technological gadgetry that powers Intertalk Radio. Paul B., how was the NAMM show for you, man?
Wet and wild and stressful, but fun. Very exciting stuff. We're kind of a whirlwind over there, but I really didn't get to see a whole lot of gear because I was mostly doing a video for the NAMM Foundation, and it really didn't get to explore the floor almost at all. Nice.
Well, you did not even on Sunday. You didn't get around, and what's where usually everybody can get around.
Yeah,
and play some stuff.
I thought I would on Sunday, but they were pumping out podcasts like every day, like 4 or 5 a day. So I kind of ended up doing on Sunday. I did manage to go on the floor right there at the end for a little bit in the afternoon. But that's about it. Didn't see Stevie Wonder. I tried to go see John Mayer at the PRS booth, but it was just too many people to get. I couldn't get past the crowd.
Yeah, it was definitely, very crowded. A lot of people said that they thought maybe attendance was down. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later in the show, in the winning and losing section. But didn't really feel like that from where I was walking. There were lots of people trying to get wherever I was going. So either I was taking the popular path, or there were just that many people there.
How was it for you?
It was really good. And my clients did really well, and awesome. We had a blast. We kicked things off with an Intertalk Radio panel, and that was a lot of fun. That was awesome. And then I sort of ended the show after a bunch of press meetings and business meetings of all sorts during the show, and then we kind of ended it with a little Intertalk Radio interview there, and that was a lot of fun too. So, kind of bookends of Intertalk Radio in my in my NAMM show experience. But it was a lot of fun.
We are the Alpha and the Omega.
There you go. That's the new tagline. Undisputed leader of music biz talk. No longer. Now we're going with Alpha and Omega of the music products industry.
There you go.
Of the music industry.
Yeah.
Because the music products.
I like that. I'm gonna go change up our website.
You can have that. There's that one's for free. Well, good. Well, kids, if you have a question for me, you can always email me at scott@robertsoncom2ms.com, and I will answer anything right here on the show. Almost anything, as long as it's marketing related. I mean, if it's like you've got a rash, there are other people who can help you with that, honestly. And I would say, just on the subject of you having a rash, and I don't know that you do, but I'm just saying if you did, then, WebMD would not be the place to go, because I did read this story that said that most people's stress levels raise after reading anything on WebMD that might possibly, because it's laid out in some worst case scenario type of things. And also the symptoms are really vague. So it's like, if you read something on WebMD, you might have it. I mean, you might be able to fit your current, situation into whatever's going on there. So it's always best to see the doctor for stuff like that.
If you experience breathing,
yes,
being affected by the laws of gravity, you may have
something.
Yeah.
I saw a pharmaceutical commercial, just on the side note before we get into the content today. I saw a pharmaceutical commercial the other day that it was treating a condition where people like laugh and cry hysterically for no reason. And I was thinking, it's like they should really tie that into DC Comics and the Joker somehow, and just be like, call it Jokeritis or something. I mean, it's something fun. Have some fun with it out there. If you're gonna have a condition like that, you should be able to carry a note if you have that. By the way, too, if I start crying or laughing at any moment in time, it could be a medical condition. And then, of course, true to pharmaceutical ads that we see today, the list of things that the medicine, the pharmaceutical could give you in addition to this condition were like horrific. Absolutely, like it was out of like a Paul Verhoeven movie in the 80s, horrific stuff. So if you have that condition, you don't want to take that medicine or anything. Just carry a note. That'll
at least cure you of the laughing part.
You definitely wouldn't be laughing. Some of that stuff, I'd be like, wow, that's pretty tricky. But I digress as usual. Hey, welcome to May the Best Brand Win, episode 40, ladies and gentlemen. And I call this one Making It All Work Together. I call it Marketing v. Communications, Making It All Work Together. And it comes from a question that came, a discussion from some friends of mine at the NAMM show about marketing and communications. And some people were asking me, what's the difference? Why do people in marketing communications department have both of those things in their title? Aren't they the same thing, kind of thing? They're not. And so I thought that was some good territory to talk about on this show, because there's a lot of nomenclature in the marketing profession that requires definition, because not everybody sort of defines it the same way, So this episode's called Marketing v. Communications, Making It All Work Together. And really what we're talking about is, so you've got marketing, communications, you got things like SEO, public relations, promotions, trade shows, a lot of arrows, like I say on the show a lot of arrows handled by a lot of different archers in the company, including sales, by the way. And how does a company, change the approach from like a hit and miss arrow here or there to just like a volley of arrows that can like black out the sun? How do you get a real effective strategy with everything firing together? And how do you bring it together for maximum impact and effectiveness? I mean, that's really the subject that we're going to dig into today. We're also going to touch on, of course, who's winning and losing, and there's a whole lot of that to cover. So I hope you can sit back and enjoy the show as we kind of go through the knockdown, drag-out fight of the century as marketing faces off against communications to see who will control the throne. So let's do some definitions first. Marketing. Let's do marketing versus communications. Marketing v. It's like Superman v. Batman, only watchable. And it goes like this. So a lot of businesses kind of lump anything marketing related into marketing. And then communications, sort of anything that's not marketing. But you ask any, 10 marketers, the difference between marketing and communications, and you would probably get 10 different answers. And that's not wrong. That's not a wrong thing. It's just we kind of know what we've experienced. But it is helpful, as you are defining this for your own company, to sort of have a definition, so that you can say this is the one that kind of serves us. So marketing is usually a discipline that guides companies as they develop products, they target their customers, they set prices. Always remember that pricing piece is going to be in marketing. Very important. And a lot of people say, well, that doesn't have anything to do with, with promoting it. It's like, right. Marketing is, it always involves research, and it always involves things like pricing and channels, things like that, So a marketing plan is always going to include tactics for communicating a strategy, which can include a lot of stuff. I mean, today here in 2017, there are 45 to 50 probably different things that could go in there, including public relations, advertising, social media, promotions. It really, marketing is really considered business planning and strategy. And while communications is typically defined as sort of the execution side of relationship building and or selling, if that makes sense. So hopefully that is a a hair more clear, but let's dig into this a little bit more. So, Simply Business has defined descriptions of what marketing communications are, and that's a firm that is throwing out its own definitions, which I kind of thought were pretty good. Basically, they say communications is the messaging that's going to promote your marketing strategies. Marketing focuses on the who and the demographics, the research, again, the pricing, the channel, all of those things that sort of tie into the, the business goals and the business strategy. And the communications person in the organization will focus on, how, the message. Although it's really important that everybody's kind of connected and working together, because if marketing is researching and analyzing and planning and executing and measuring and doing all these kind of things, some people say marketing is preparing people to buy, and communications is actually the execution of that, which gets people closer to buying. Then communications is how you deliver, marketing ideas to consumers. And this is important too, because, when I, like for example, a lot of people who have this title, they have director of communications, right? Like in the association world, for example, it was director of communications. And that says something. That basically says that you're executing the communication strategies. You're responsible for the, the relationships, those kind of things. But director of marketing, has a larger responsibility, and it's going to include a lot of things that, like I mentioned, you'll always find the research piece in there. You'll always find the pricing piece in there. You'll always find what the channel strategy is in there. You'll always find those kind of things. So I'm hoping that is reasonably helpful. So if marketing includes PR, advertising, social media promotions, those kind of things, and communications needs to be really consistent across all of the relationships, across all of your events, all of your printed materials, all of your corporate design, all of your relationships. A good way to say it is, if you were to announce the company is closing, that's communications. But if you send the notice ahead of time with more detailed information and outcome while educating the audience, that is marketing. Right. And it is a subtle difference. Now, corporate communication, while we're chatting about it, while we're laying down some definitions, is really the company's attempt to inform and persuade the public, including all of its consumers, private investors, the media, those kind of things. It's the voice in which corporate institutions interact with the outside world. You also hear that, as you longtime listeners of the show will say, wasn't that the brand? It's definitely a part of the brand. It's absolute corporate communication is definitely the execution wing of the brand strategy in that way. Now, marketing communication is created to influence consumers to purchase a particular product or service. So when you find people that have marketing and communications in their title, remember that they're sitting as the kind of the research arm and the channel strategist and all that kind of piece together, but they also have responsibility for the execution all the way down. So it's really it's important to understand the difference between marketing and communications, because that's how you're going to be able to speak this language. That's how you're going to be able to create a strong brand and effective sales that are going to boost the bottom line. Now, with all of that said, as I mentioned, there are a lot of different definitions. I always tell people that it's really, really important to understand that not everyone in the marketing profession shares the same definition of these terms. What's really important to you and your organization is that you define yours, that you should have a definition of what marketing means to your organization. And I realize that could be rudimentary depending on the size of your organization, but there's no way that's going to hurt you to sit down and go, we believe this collection of oxygen-breathing human beings at this location, we believe marketing is this. It is this to us. It is this to us. Here's how marketing is going to serve us. Here's where we're going to put the dividing line between marketing and communications in our organization. You see how others do it. You see how other people's, titles, reflect that. When I started when I took the director of marketing communications job at NAM, the job title was Director of Communications. And I sat down with my boss and I said, so communications is an execution wing. I said, and just so you know, you're hiring a strategist. I said, so you're hiring a marketing strategist that not only affects outcomes that other people want to see in the organization, but drives the entire organization itself. So marketing communications makes a lot of sense in that title. And, and we agreed to do that because, again, communications is going to be there's only so much you're going to be able to do if you're limited with just that communications piece of the title for that organization. That's what it made sense. Now I know people across the corporate world, across the association world, that have marketing and communications in their title, and their jobs don't look remotely similar. I know lobbyists who say that they're, in the communications industry, but really all that they're trying to do is affect the outcomes of government, and that's the shareholders and the kind of stakeholders that make sense, for them in that piece. So you start to see that there's layers, and what if you stay in this long enough, what you'll notice is, again, no two companies really kind of do it exactly the same way. And again, I think it's really, really important for organizations to take the step and say, this is what this function means to us. This is what it means to us. We understand what the definitions are in various textbooks and various, websites, people who have taken a shot at trying to define it. But this is what it means to us. That's where it's going to have the most meaning, to be quite honest. And it is important, not when you are defining it, to make sure that you write it down. I think all organizations need to have sort of a shared set of rules, and they can't just exist in your head, just like your marketing plan really can't exist in your head. I've run into companies that say, oh yeah, we've got our marketing plan kind of in our heads, what we're going to do. No, you don't. Simply put, you don't. Because there's an extraordinary amount of detail in that plan, and if you can hold that in your head and you're in your 40s, then you must be taking one of those pharmaceuticals that we talked about at the top of the show. Because I can't remember that much stuff. I do marketing plans for a living. I've been doing them, for going on 30 years, and the bottom line is, I write them down. I write them down. You have to have your steps written down, and you have to have your definitions written down. It's really, really, really important. Well, that's the first round of Marketing v. Communications, making it all work together here on May the Best Brand Win on Intertalk Radio, the undisputed leader in music biz talk. Come on back in segment 2. We're going to talk about who's winning and who is a losing. See you in a few.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
This is Jackie Bertoni from Jackie's Groove. Come join me weekly on my journey through the music business as I take you behind the velvet rope, interviewing industry notables such as Al Di Meola, Michael McDonald, and Al Jarreau, to name but a few. Listen to their stories on being in the studios recording #1 hits and onto the stages throughout the globe. Allow me to be your music historian. You can hear me live every Monday at 2 p.m. and every Wednesday at 12 noon Pacific Standard Time or 24/7 on jackiesgroove.com. Ready to get your groove on?
Hi, I'm Tim Dolbear, the host of Sound Experience on Intertalk Radio. Each week, I talk with top professional audio engineers, producers, musicians, and the manufacturers that make the tools that we use in the studio each and every day. From capturing the perfect take to mastering your final release, and the tools and how the pros use them, we are going to dive deep into their process and learn from their experience. I look forward to you joining us each week on Sound Experience with me, your host, Tim Dolbear.
Hey, it's Tracy Smith
and Beth Venus
of Girls Talk Rock right here on the Intertalk Radio Network.
Every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Pacific.
Okay, Beth, they know that, but we want you to know that the industry pro's choice is Silver Tiger Production.
STP is a full-service production agency offering sound, lighting, installations, talent buying, staffing, backline equipment rental, and sales. Kapow!
It's everything in the entertainment performance industry. It's all that. SilverTigerProduction.com.
May the best brand win with Scott Robertson's Music Biz Marketing Strategies. Now, here's your host, Scott Robertson.
Happy Friday, everybody. You are wisely back with May the Best Brand Win right here on Intertalk Radio, the undisputed leader in music biz talk. There were some people that disputed at the show, and we just kicked the crap out of them. We took them outside, we took them back to the alley, and we said, look, this is undisputed. It's undisputed. That's how you do it. I just want to let you know. And with me here on the air, of course, is Paul B. How's it going?
Kapow.
Kapow.
That's all I got to say.
Dude,
still undisputed.
Undisputed. Literally. And like I said, if people want to dispute it, they need to write a letter. There's at least 3 forms they need to fill out. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of steps to dispute it. So let's just keep it undisputed. That's what I would say.
Better off just accepting it.
Just accept it.
You don't want the paperwork.
You don't. You know, it's a hard thing to dispute, honestly. And then we could come back. You know, we're gonna file our paperwork too. And honestly, we're gonna get the lawyers involved. The whole thing's gonna get legal. And who needs that?
Yeah, and we're just gonna dump paper files, trucks full of them, on you for discovery.
Exactly.
It's not gonna be fun. Just stay down.
People are like, what is with these guys today? I don't even know.
Tap out, bro.
Dude, it's Friday. That's what I'm talking about. So, all right. So let's talk about who's winning and losing in the wonderful, wacky world of marketing this week. Wow, the Dow Jones Industrial is winning, ladies and gentlemen. Come on. The Dow Jones Industrial Average marched even higher after hitting 20,000 for the first time in history on Wednesday, fueled by some strong earnings and President Trump's pro-growth initiatives really igniting a huge rally in the stock market. Wow. And man, Trump's the hardest working man in show business. I tell you what, I expressed some doubts about being able to execute that 100-day plan. But man, he might knock that thing off by the end of January he's really moving at a speed that we've not seen government. I've never seen government accomplish that much in such a short period of time. They're sort of accepted that they're just going to flounder around and debate things forever. And man, things are just moving forward at sort of a breakneck pace. But anyway, I got to put the Dow Jones Industrials in the winning column as it's hitting 20,000. And then I saw a few interesting articles that explain, what makes up the Dow Jones Industrials today. And even if you think it's worth a read, even if you're, it's always used as an economic indicator, right? The stock market indices, those things. But if you're not sure who's in the Dow Jones today and who makes those decisions, there's a wonderful NPR story that was out this week about the Dow Jones, and it's really pretty fascinating stuff. So anyway, we're going to put them in the winning column for show. Also winning, our friends that we mentioned at the top of the program, NAMM. The NAMM show was a real winner, up by every measure that they measure. Very well executed, very well done trade show as always, even in the rain, which is something that gives event producers fits in Southern California. And I was surprised at how well everybody adapted to it and sort of dug it. A lot of people were kind of grumbling about the fact that, where's the Southern California sun? It's like, hey, we're not God. What can I tell you? But just a few numbers in case you missed them. Overall show registration did increase. And then NAMM puts in its obligatory it wasn't us, it was the members sort of thing, by 5% to 106,928 over the 2016 show. So 106,928 registrants for the big bad show. And, there were times when I was trying to get to the restroom where I felt like all 106,928 were standing in front of me while I was trying to get to the bathroom. So, it was crazy. It was crazy. Everywhere, as I mentioned at the top of the show, everywhere I was going, there was a Disneyland-like queue of people also trying to get there, whether it was trying to get food or, drinks or, pretty much everything. But you kind of accept that, knowing that you're gonna be there in close quarters with 100,000 of your closest friends. It was a great show. It was a great show for my clients. I know that a lot of the NAMM folks had a good time. It was good time was sort of had by all. And then everybody in the industry who works the show has the same sort of feeling after it's over, which is like, oh, thank God. And that's not a bad thing. It just shows that you kind of left it all out in the field, and we certainly did. If you heard my interview on Sunday morning, I was, my voice was really reflecting, 4 or 5 days of straight just talking to people, over, in my case, over a lot of school band and orchestra and musical instruments that were being blown at crazy volumes into the neighboring booths, which you don't always hear about, by the way. But it was, anyway, a lot of fun. Let's put NAMM in the winning column for sure. Can't wait for next year. Can't wait for Summer NAMM. I think that's always it's always a fun show, a little more relaxed. I've got a few clients that are already signed up and going in there, so more to come on that. Okay, so also in the winning column, I'm going to put the PR profession in the winning column this week because they, and in fact, the association that governs the PR profession is called the Public Relations Society of America. Dun, dun, dun. PRSA. They're the ones who accredit, who provide accreditation testing and things like that for those of us, who have passed those tests, do that through the PRSA. Today, this week, they released a statement on "quote unquote" alternative facts that I thought was really good, and I'm going to read it to you. And it goes like this: "Truth is the foundation of all effective communications. By being truthful, we build and maintain trust with the media and our customers, clients, and employees. As professional communicators, we take very seriously our responsibility to communicate with honesty and accuracy. The Public Relations Society of America, the nation's communications association, sets the standard of ethical behavior for our 22,000 members through our Code of Ethics," which you also have to know backwards and forwards, by the way, to get that accreditation, "encouraging and perpetuating the use of alternative facts by high-profile spokespeople reflects poorly on all communications professionals. PRSA strongly objects to any effort to deliberately misrepresent information. Honest, ethical professionals never spin, mislead, or alter facts. We applaud our colleagues and professional journalists who work hard to find and report the truth." And that's from Jane Dvorak, who is APR fellow PRSA, and she's the chair of the society for this year. Well done. Very well done. That is an absolutely appropriate reminder to people who like to call public relations people spin doctors, who like to, think that in some way the profession is rooted in this, lying, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, everything's a lie, but it's okay. I will tell you that is not how I practice. And it's not for moral. I'm not going to read the Bible to you and tell you and give you moral and ethical reasons. It's just strictly for business reasons. When you lie, you will get caught. It's a transparent world. You will get caught. And then all of the relationships that you were trying to build will burn down right in front of your face. It's not good for business. I did a blog post a few years ago that said lying bad for business since forever. And it is. Lying is a poor business strategy. It is also, immoral. It is also, all those things, that you want to add, judgment on top of it. But I would say the first and foremost reason why a communications person should stick to the facts and the truth in every case, in everything that we do, is the fact that we are in the long-term relationship building business, and you don't build long-term relationships by misleading people. You simply don't. Trust is hard won. It's easily lost. Very important. And this terminology of alternative facts, that's not okay. That's not okay. There are only the facts that we know. They're only the truth as we know it. Deliberately misleading people is never going to work out. For a brand, for a person, for a personality, for a country, for an anything, it's not going to work out. So I'm going to put PRSA in the winning column because I liked that statement. I think that's a great reminder. The rest of the marketing profession can't say that because on a daily basis, they lie. They lie on a daily basis, and that's not okay. It simply isn't. So hopefully people will get the memo on that sooner than later. Okay, also in the winning column, print, believe it or not. A new study came out from Nielsen that shows that 69% of the U.S. population reads a newspaper. They said monthly, in print. So look at that. 69% of people still getting the newsprint on their fingers. That's much higher than I would have guessed it was. And particularly interesting in the survey is the data on millennials. Millennials represent a quarter of that audience, and the demographics do skew toward a more affluent, educated audience. So, this is from a media buying newsletter where I pulled this, but they said that you should spread your media buys and your influence across channels relevant to customers as they consume media in a variety of ways. But make sure that you don't completely discount print either, because you're starting. The thing that you got to know, you got to follow the data. You can't follow what everybody says is the truth or whatever. You got to follow the facts. You got to follow the studies by the research organizations who get paid to figure this stuff out. And 170 million readers are reading print. So it definitely makes you. It's definitely something that makes you think as you're putting your media buys together, as you're even thinking through, your PR strategies, where you're going to try to put your earned placements, where you're going to try to, put your message. Just don't forget 170 million readers in the U.S. are reading print. And so it's not dead. Despite what Gene Simmons would tell you, he said print was dead a long time ago at a NAMM session. So that's why I bring that up. Audiobooks, by the same token, audiobooks seem to be kind of having a moment, which I saw from ProSound News. They report that you're seeing, audiobooks, a heightened interest in audiobooks, which is really kind of fascinating to watch. In 2011, 7,237 audiobook titles were published, whereas last year, are you ready for this? 35,574 titles came out. With publishers opting to release more titles in a wider variety of genres, listeners are now voraciously consuming more audiobooks than ever before. And as proof, the APA estimates that sales in 2015 rose to more than $1.77 billion, which is 20% rise over 2014. So that's really interesting, right? If you look at the trend line of people reading books, then it's very easy to say, okay, well, people just aren't reading books anymore. But what you're seeing is they're consuming books in different ways. They're consuming, ebooks, and particularly this data on audiobooks is pretty fascinating too. Depending on your learning style, whether you're visual or an audio learner, I know a lot of people who are audio learners, and they love audiobooks because they can sort of process it at a higher level. It sort of comes to them differently. So anyway, I thought that was a good one. We're going to put audiobooks in the winning column. Let's see. Let's put I read the story recently about Silicon Valley billionaires that are preparing for the apocalypse by buying all kinds of private hideaways and bunkers. Basically, the Silicon Valley elite, are some of the most active doomsday preppers, according to a riveting new essay in The New Yorker. So basically, they're buying missile silos in Russia, and outfitting them with all these kind of weaponry and things like this for end of times, which I thought is pretty funny. Reid Hoffman, an executive chairman of LinkedIn, compares buying apocalypse insurance to owning a safety blanket in this interview with The New Yorker. So if you're looking for kind of a fun read, check out that issue of The New Yorker. He estimates that the reporter estimates more than 50% of Silicon Valley billionaires have bought some level of apocalypse insurance, like an underground bunker, so that they're ready for the zombie apocalypse, which could be caused by one of the pharmaceuticals that treats one of those conditions, like laughing and crying hysterically for no reason. See how we bring it all together on May the Best Brand Win? That's how you do it right there. I don't know whether that's winning or losing. I'm gonna say Silicon Valley billionaires are winning they'll be winning when the world is losing. That's a good way to wrap that story. Losing is telemarketing is definitely losing this week. There's a new scam out there that I just read about today that basically the telemarketer will call and ask, "Oh, I'm sorry, can you hear me?" And if you answer yes, then they record it and they use that as your consent to buy all kinds of products and services that you didn't buy, which they send to you. And then you're like, "Well, no, I didn't do that." And then they replay back your yes and that kind of thing, which you answered to, "Can you hear me?" So pretty soon people are going to be scared to death. First of all, nobody answers their landline anyway, and everybody's got caller ID on their cell phones and those kind of things. But pretty soon everything's going to go to voicemail, because now they're recording your yes answer to the question, "Can you hear me?" and using it to scam people. Humans are very there's a lot of innovation in humankind, I got to say, and that obviously is terrible, but also kind of innovative. But I'm going to put that in the losing category. Also losing this week is advertising. A study came out recently that talks about how Gen Z, the kids, are more discriminating and more advertising resistant than Gen X or Y. So a new demographically segmented study from Kantar Millward Brown presents an instructive set of findings for marketers that are trying to reach younger audiences. And this kind of makes sense, but Gen Z is particularly tricky to engage because they've sort of been taught that all advertising is smoke and BS throughout their entire short lives. So if you're going to try to reach those folks, advertising is not going to be your greatest path to do that. And that is who's winning and losing this week in marketing. You are tuned to May the Best Brand Win on Intertalk Radio, the undisputed leader in music biz talk. Come on back. I'm going to give you some tips to bring your marketing and communications and everything else all together.
Hi, I'm Tim Dolbear, the host of Sound Experience on Intertalk Radio. Each week, I talk with top professional audio engineers, producers, musicians, and the manufacturers that make the tools that we use in the studio each and every day. From capturing the perfect take to mastering your final release, and the tools and how the pros use them, we are going to dive deep into their process and learn from their experience. I look forward to you joining us each week on Sound Experience with me, your host, Tim Dolbear.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
Girls are talking rock again.
And people are listening.
Today we're talking bands.
Let's talk promotion. Red Giant promo, graphics, EPKs, video, photos, social media, and brand building using content marketing.
But let's talk studio at CCMA, which is events, rehearsal, tour prep, piano, guitar, voice, rock band, lessons, workshops, and clinics. Yeah.
Both proud sponsors of Girls Talk Rock.
Well, get the lowdown on these services and contact me, Tracy, at girlstalkrock.com.
This is Jackie Bertoni from Jackie's Groove. Come join me weekly on my journey through the music business as I take you behind the velvet rope, interviewing industry notables such as Al Di Meola, Michael McDonald, and Al Jarreau, to name but a few. Listen to their stories on being in the studios recording #1 hits and onto the stages throughout the globe. Allow me to be your music historian. You can hear me live every Monday at 2 p.m. and every Wednesday at 12 noon Pacific Standard Time or 24/7 on jackiesgroove.com. Ready to get your groove on?
May the best brand win with Scott Robertson's Music Biz Marketing Strategies. Now, here's your host, Scott Robertson.
Segment 3. Welcome back, everybody. Happy Friday. You are back for segment 3 of May the Best Brand Win, episode 40, in case you're keeping track at home, on Intertalk Radio, the undisputed leader in music biz talk. I am still Scott, your host, all the way through segment 3. And Paul B., we just did winning and losing this week. What do you like? What's working for you?
Good news about the market going up. Pretty fun little that last one you did with telemarketing, tricking people into saying yes and playing it out of contest. I might have to steal that one.
Yes, that is pretty inventive, actually. Oh, can you hear me? Yes. Oh, wait. You agreed to go to this timeshare or whatever, or this kind of thing. It's like, no, I didn't. I
used to work for a real estate agent that had to make cold calls on like a multi-line dialer, and he would do the hello, can you hear me, as like a if you're talking to one and the dialer calls somebody else, they pick up, you kind of drop them a message and you pretend like you have a bad connection. You're like, hello, can you hear me? I'll call you right back. and he would practice leaving this voicemail on the dialer over and over, and trying not to sound fake and phony, and he was just failing miserably every time.
Oh, telemarketing. It's like if AI has a real reason to destroy humankind, telemarketing's got to be on the Family Feud top 5 list. It's like name something why the human race deserves to be annihilated by machines. Telemarketing is up there. Bing, bing, bing. Absolutely. That's what I'm going to say. Well, we're back in segment 3, and we're having fun. I did have one other one I wanted to pass on for winning and losing. Uber's winning this week, as they pass Starbucks as the business traveler's #1 expense. Uber is the best friend of business travelers, and a new study found that 6% of all business transactions in 2016 were with Uber, making the ride-sharing company the most common expense in terms of transactions. And Uber grabbed this honor from Starbucks, which remains the most popular meal expense. So Uber is really making its way onto a lot of expense reports, And then, I know that the bar scene really has a lot of Uber drivers. When our band finishes up, there's like a line of Uber cars taking people home, which is great, because it used to be people staggering into their cars and trying to drive home, and nobody needs that aggravation. So anyway, that was one more winning and losing thing. And so this segment, I'm going to give you some tips. I'm going to give you some tips to bring this whole mess together of how you can manage your marketing versus your communications versus your public relations versus your social media versus your SEO versus all your other stuff. But first, I wanted to hit one more topic that I missed in segment 1, and that is the topic of IMC. Sounds like a rap group, but it's actually Integrated Marketing Communications. A very misunderstood term, Integrated Marketing Communications is. It means that basically it means what it says. It's a self-defining phrase. It means that you are going to integrate everything sort of together. It really is sort of the point of what we're talking about in this show. But And conceptually, it's a fantastic idea. Let's bring everything together. Sometimes organizations say, let's bring it all together into one department. Let's bring it together under one person. Let's bring it together under one team. And then it'll be integrated and it'll be super integrated, right? Wrong. Because one of the greatest barriers to integrated communication in the real world, in your office, where they do the cake parties and the sexual harassment trainings and disaster trainings and all that stuff in the real world where you work, the greatest barrier to integrated marketing communications is people. And sort of security versus insecurity versus that's my job, not your job. If you take this, then you're taking part of my territory, and this belonged to me. And as you know, one of the trickiest things in the work world is getting the team to all sort of go together, because people are selfish creatures. We all are. You are too. Yeah, you are. And that's okay. It comes from your survival instinct. Again, as I talk about a lot on this show, it's biology. So first you got to give yourself permission and go, yeah, I'm a selfish creature. I'm looking out for myself first. Are you looking out for yourself before you're looking out for your company? Yeah, you are. You absolutely are. Allow me to illustrate that point. There's a fire in the building, right? Are you saving the work project, or are you saving your own butt first, ladies and gentlemen? Because, yeah, you're saving yourself, and rightfully so. By the way, the company would probably tell you to do that too, for legal reasons. That's what I'm going to say. So anyway, biggest barrier to integrated communications, people problems, people relationships, people being promised things, people having parts of jobs that this was my job, and now you're taking my job, and now I'm upset. And that's just working with people, folks. So if you're going to, let's say you're a CEO out there and you want to do a truly good job at integrated communications, you better start with who is on the bus. Who's on the bus and what is their damage, issues, stuff that you can, that you can have an honest conversation about. So it becomes less of, integrated marketing communications is the practice of bringing all the marketing communications functions together. That's all great and everything. But the reason it's not going to work in your company is because Bob is upset with Joan, and Joan, spilled a drink on Dave, and Dave's never forgotten about it, or she made him look bad at the director's meeting, 2 years ago, and he still hasn't forgotten about it, and he's just waiting for a time where he can just stab her in the back and nobody will know it's coming from him, that kind of thing. That's people. That is people, ladies and gentlemen, and it's going on in every company. Yes, yours too. Yes, yours too, unless you have the humanoid android robots working for you that I saw at CES, and if you do, you got a whole host of new problems coming your way in the near future. But that's just people problems, and that's what I want to say that because all this stuff sounds really good on the blackboard and on the little sheets, but you got to make it work for you and your people and their issues if you really want it to work. Okay, that said, we got into integrated marketing communications a little bit, and I really wanted to hit that earlier, so I want to make sure we got that. Now, let's hit some tips that is going to arm you here. Tip number one, again, you need to know how all of this stuff is going to work for you. You need to really think about it. Get off of your marketing checklist, the to-do list of things that we've always done, and really think. In our organization, where's the research coming from? Where's the pricing development coming from? Who's responsible for that? Who's responsible for figuring out the channel? What if the channel changes, by the way? What if, it's the same channel that Grandpa decided 100 years ago. Is that still the channel? Probably not, and somebody needs to have the responsibility, the marketing responsibility of being in charge of that for your company. Sometimes it goes all the way to the top. As a CEO, going to be responsible for marketing? Depends on the company. Depends on the size. Depends on the duties. It absolutely could be, but it depends. Also, people have different skill sets themselves individually, so you want to make sure that you have that stuff lined up correctly. But really think about it. Really, really think about how it works for you. Write down your definition. My company's definition of marketing is this. Our definition of communications is this. Our definition, here's how we're going to use public relations. Here's how we're going to use digital marketing. Here's how we're going to use, advertising. And you need to have these things sort of philosophically written out so that you've given it due thought. It's not just a conversation, that you have, and it's certainly a conversation that you need to have, but it's not something that you want to do, quickly. You want to take some time with each one of these things. Get it right for your company. Write it down. It doesn't exist. If it exists in your director of marketing's head only, and that person bails, the next person comes in could have a completely different, idea of the way that the marketing world works. And you can't have that in your company. You need to have your philosophy, your stuff written down. Very important. Tip number 2, don't neglect the sales team. Marketing and sales teams traditionally are a little standoffish from each other. There's articles written about it. There's books written about it, because sales is like, well, we're just out there selling and that kind of thing. We don't need marketing and we don't need branding. And all we need to do is hit our quota and hit our numbers. That's all we need to do. Bull crap. Bull crap. You need each other more than you need air. You know what? Everybody's on the same brand page in the company. Make sure that the sales team and the marketing team are drinking the same beverage. Bring everybody in, break down those silos. The brand is unchangeable, whether it's, whether you are experiencing it from a sales perspective all the way at, quote unquote, the end of the process, or if you're experiencing it at, at the beginning of the process when you're just seeing, marketing materials. All of that stuff needs to be connected. It needs to come together. I've had marketing people say, well, that's not, that's above my pay grade, right? That's like, I can't bring the sales team into me. Suggest it. I would say suggest it. Reach out to whoever's doing the sales part. Do your part in trying to do it. It's how the organization is going to succeed. It's sure as heck not going to succeed if you guys are, sort of passive aggressively trying to, outshine each other in the company. That isn't helping anybody. So make sure that you are reaching out and you're connected. By the way, you can be in service to one another. Again, your job description in terms of marketing communications, has certain things in it. Sales job description has something in it too. But everybody is in the company does well, we all do well department. So make sure that you do that. It's really, really important. Sounds very basic, but it's not done as much as you would think. All right, tip number 3. Make sure that your budget allocations are in line with the return on investment that's being generated out there. And this can be a tricky one because not everyone has very sophisticated measurement mechanisms built into everything that they're doing marketing-wise. And you should refer to my show on measurement, by the way, because it's really important to measure. It's really, really important to measure. You must know this stuff. When it's your own business, when it's your own money on the line, you will sure as hell be measuring what is generating ROI and what is not. And I guarantee you the things that are not generating ROI are going to be gone. Those things are not going to make the cut. So look at your, remember we always talk about some marketing philosophy is if a little bit of marketing is good, then a whole bunch must be really good. If the goose lays one golden egg a day, then if you cut that sucker open, you can just grab all the golden eggs out of its belly and you're going to be rich. You know how the fable ends, right? Same thing in marketing, by the way. The goose that laid the golden egg is a fantastic marketing lesson, right? Little bit at a time, and be happy with it. Little bit at a time and be happy with it. Very, 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 very important. Your audience does not have the wherewithal to dig your entire marketing onslaught at once. And I know that you're the happy puppy and you really want to communicate a lot of stuff out there, but understand that they do not wish to hear from you every second of every day. And the minute that you forget that, you're going to see your unsubscribes go up, You're going to see people start to block you. You're going to see new rules passed by our friends in Washington. And by the way, retargeting people out there, we know what's on the FTC's desk right now? Ways to block you guys. Ways to shut down your retargeting operation forever. It's coming out soon. Less than 60 days, just so you know it. So very, very important. Make sure your budget allocation is in line with your ROI. Not everybody does it, and you should. You absolutely should be evaluating these things and saying, okay, this is what we're getting out of our marketing efforts. This is what we're getting out of our quote unquote communications efforts. This is what PR is bringing in. This is what we believe we're getting out of advertising. And I agree. There's a degree of subjectivity in line with it too, because not everything leads to sales. On day one. Depending on your product, depending on your service, the sales process can be complicated. There all those kind of things, but think about it. Make sure that you look at those. Make sure your budget is reasonably in line with what your ROI is out there. Number 4, borrow winning ideas. There's nothing in your job description that requires you to, reinvent the marketing wheel. When I worked at NAMM, I unapologetically lifted things from other trade shows. NAMM's Media Preview Day, where they show all the products and they get all that blast of media coverage, I pretty much brought that to NAMM. Did I think it up? No, I did not. I grabbed that from a combination of CES, who does some paid ones that were pretty cool, and Comic-Con, who opens up their show an entire day early for the press. Turns out it's actually not the press, but they call it that. It's like it's kind of like a soft open. If you've been to Comic-Con before, they do they call it press day, but I wasn't press and I was walking around. You know what I mean? So you can certainly, if it's just a press day, then everybody's a journalist and everybody's covering that kind of thing. And also the show floor would not have been that crowded if it was only journalists, because there's not that many journalists in the world. So tip number 4, again, borrow some winning ideas. Don't be afraid of that. And don't ever be afraid to take things away. Tip 5, don't be afraid to take things away and make things simpler. Nobody ever got in trouble in marketing by making things simpler. I think that too many people try to make things more complicated, and then it's going to be really hard. Today we've seen that marketing is different than communications. Communications can be different than PR, content marketing. But the most important thing we've learned is that your marketing mix is about you and your success, not any type of textbook definition. We do this stuff so that we can build relationships. We want to help people. And yes, there are those of us who do it to try to make the world a little bit better of a place. Maybe with a little bit more of a well thought out marketing approach. Here's hoping. It's important work. It's not easy. And just when you got everything down, it's all going to change on you. But, that's why I'm here, and I'm always happy to do it. And that is it for me, marketing fans. This is Scott Robertson signing off once again for May the Best Brand Win on Intertalk Radio, the undisputed leader in music biz talk. We'll see you next week. You know what's all around you every waking moment of your life? Marketing. You're choking on it. I'm Scott Robertson, and when it comes to strategic PR, branding, and marketing, I've seen it all. And actually, I'm still seeing it because bad marketing never sleeps. Join me each week on May the Best Brand Win, right here on Intertalk Radio, and learn how to make the marketing for your brand unforgettable.
Hi, this is Tim Dolbear from Eclectica Studios. I'm a full-time mixing and recording engineer. I work with Grammy winners, labels, and indie artists, using state-of-the-art digital mixing and restoration tools and the very best in analog gear. Really, though, it's my ability to bring tracks to life and fulfill your vision for your music. This has made me sought after by producers and artists worldwide. So spend your time working on music and not chasing a mix down a rabbit hole. Go to timdolbear.com and check out our free one-song mix offer.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
This is Jackie Bertoni from Jackie's Groove. Come join me weekly on my journey through the music business as I take you behind the velvet rope, interviewing industry notables such as Al Di Meola, Michael McDonald, and Al Jarreau, to name but a few. Listen to their stories on being in the studios recording number one hits and onto the stages throughout the globe. Allow me to be your music historian. You can hear me live every Monday at 2 p.m. and every Wednesday at 12 noon Pacific Standard Time or 24/7 on jackiesgroove.com. Ready to get your groove on?